Hey everybody, and welcome to this sweaty review of Wonder Woman 1984. I am your man Soda, and I am joined once again by my friend Ben Rayner. How are you doing, Ben?
Good, excited to talk about this one.
Me too. And I hope everybody out there watching, whoever is watching this, had a very Merry Christmas. They stayed safe. You got to enjoy a lot of good Christmas food. I know I sure did. I'm about up to here in meat pie.
Nice.
French Canadian delicacies, man. It's the best. Only get it once a year, but I love it. So we might as well just hop right into it. Ben, what did you think of Wonder Woman 1984?
I thought it was a very solid movie with some not huge issues, but some issues, give or take. How about you?
I thought it was a very fun movie. I will say maybe they could have cut down the runtime a little bit, but for the most part, I was completely invested. I was not expecting the first one, and I definitely did not get that, which I'm happy for. I love the 80s-ness of it all. I thought Pedro Pascal was a very charming Maxwell Lord. And I even liked Kristen Wiig as the villain, but for me, as always, it's Gal Gadot. Like, for me, she was the bright spot of the movie. I felt she showed a more emotional range in this, especially when, she has to say goodbye to Steve. Like, that completely tore me up.
Agreed, agreed. She was the best part of the movie by far for
Yeah.
me. I mean, I liked all the performances, even though some of them didn't make quite much sense to me. Like, I love Kristen, we're deep diving into spoilers,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah, this is a spoiler review. We're not going to do two different videos. This is a full-on spoiler review. I have the plot up on from Wikipedia if we need it, so.
Okay, perfect. So, the explanation about Steve coming back,
Okay.
that confused the hell out of me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I get the basic premise of it, okay, she made a wish, but I guess you could call it the physics of it,
Gotcha.
the actual way he came back.
Yeah, it was honestly not what I was expecting. I was perfectly fine with it. I do feel like they could have maybe tweaked it a little bit, but as I'm reading on the Wikipedia description here, it says it's his soul that got resurrected, so that kind of makes a little bit more sense to how they do it. They brought his soul back, not his physical body.
That makes sense, but
They didn't really go into that in the movie. That I agree with you there. It was a little bit confusing.
I remember that guy, he basically possessed him for the whole movie.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, okay, is he out of a job now?
Well,
Like,
I don't know, but we do see him again at the end of the movie. Spoilers. That guy. He's the one that talks to Diana after the whole thing's over, and she decides she's going to move on with her life. That's the same guy.
yeah, I figured
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So basically, the plot of the movie starts off. Starts off in Themyscira with a flashback of her as a young girl, and we see her pretty much compete in an athletic competition against fellow Amazonian warriors, and tries to cheat the win. But Antiope is the one that stops her and says, You do not deserve to win. If you want to be a winner, you do not take shortcuts." And it actually kind of foreshadows how the movie is going to go, I guess. And then a flash forward to 1984. Diana is working at the Smithsonian Institution because that just makes sense. And it's there that she meets Barbara Minerva, played by Kirsten Wiig, who's very. This kind of reminded me of what they tried to do with Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I think they did it better here.
Funny you say that because I really liked Barbara. I liked her and Diane's relationship.
Yeah. Even though we didn't get a lot of it, I wish we got a little bit more.
That scene at the White House when she comes out of nowhere attacking her.
Yeah.
That felt so out of nowhere to me. I like, talking about a quick change. I mean,
Really? You thought that was quick?
yeah. No,
I don't know. No, because we saw it progress. As like, I mean, after she got her powers, obviously she's testing them out, and then she beats up the mugger that tried to attack her at the beginning of the movie,
Okay.
right? And then that's when she realizes, that that's what you once said that once she does that, and then that homeless guy talks to her, you could tell that the wheels have already turned. That something I've got something here, and I'm not going back. And then when we get to the exposition point where they're explaining how the monkey's paw as a war works, that's when you see her go, I ain't giving this up for nothing. So for me, it didn't feel out of nowhere.
Okay, maybe not her motivation, but her age towards like Diana felt out of nowhere to me.
Yes, because I don't think by that point she had seen Diana do her Wonder Woman stuff, had she?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So that is kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
So basically, she meets Minerva, and basically earlier in the film there was the big fight scene at the mall, and it's discovered that there is a jewelry store that is a front for an illegal for stolen antiques, and so Minerva is the one who's in charge to examine the antiques, and they come across this dreamstone, as it were, which basically it gives the person who touches it whatever they desire. And this is how we get Steve Trevor into the movie, because at this point Diana still has, it's been 70 years, she still has not gotten over Steve Trevor. She's basically a shut-in, she doesn't really have a social life, so she uses this thinking it's probably not going to work to bring Steve back. And Minerva wants to be more like Diana, but for her, she just thinks, more beautiful, popular, everybody loves her, but doesn't realize there's more that's going to come with it. Which also makes sense because her in the comics, Cheetah and Wonder Woman have always been equals. So I mean, makes sense to make them equals in the movie.
Okay, I didn't get that.
Yeah. And then we meet Maxwell Lord, who is basically it's revealed to be a con artist. He's trying to sell off shares in the oil industry, even though he's got nothing. And he's also after the Dreamstone, and his ultimate goal is he wants to become the Dreamstone, and he succeeds. And basically, he wreaks havoc across not just the United States, across the world, making everyone's dreams come true, but also collapsing civilization as we know it in the process, because everybody's greed's coming through. People want nuclear weapons, people want stronger defense, people want to be king, that sort of thing. And basically it's up to Diana and Steve to stop it, but Diana she's trying to find another way to end it, because she knows the true way would have to involve giving up Steve Trevor, because you have to destroy the Dreamstone pretty much, and she does not want to do that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I really, you're right. I really liked Maxwell. He had, yeah, I think you called it perfectly, charming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is that smooth, slick car salesman. I don't want to say he has a heart of gold, because
No.
he doesn't.
He doesn't, but you could still see he does have something anchoring down his humanity, that is in the form of his son Alistair. Right, because basically he's divorced, and it's his weekend to stay. It's his weekend to stay with the kid, and the kid just wants him there. But he's got his mind set on taking over the world, and basically that's what happens. He eventually gets to all the power of the United States president, and that's where you mentioned the aforementioned fight with Cheetah there for the first time, and that's when we find out that Diana's powers are being leached because of what it gave her. So basically, you wish for something, but there's always a price. And for her, in order to get Steve Trevor, started to become more mortal. You see that by bullet grazes and blood and pain, and yeah, what do you think of that?
I thought it was fitting. I liked seeing him more vulnerable, but a different side to her that I find it nice to see. Her acting has really gotten a lot better since the first Wonder Woman movie, I feel.
Yeah, and it's right after this is where we get the aforementioned scene where Steve Trevor says, like, look, if you want to end this, you got to let me go. And she just breaks down. She does not want to let her go. And as she explains to him, look, I've given everything. I've given my all over these years to the world. I've never asked for anything, which is fine. But just this once, I would like to have something for myself. And it is so heartbreaking, because you can tell she is lost without him.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and he says, Diana, I'm already gone. You gotta let me go. And then they share one final embrace, and she just turns around and runs. And as she's running away, he basically says, I will always be here. I'm never gonna leave you.
Right.
And then that's when she learns to fly for the first time, which was alluded to earlier when we got the debut of.
The Invisible Jet.
What did you think of that?
I can't believe it won it all.
Me neither. What did you think of how they pulled it off?
I mean, out of nowhere, like, all of a sudden this power happens, like, where was that in the first movie?
Well, that's the thing. They did explain that a little bit, how she's been trying over the years after she found out how Zeus, her father, was able to hide Themyscira. So, I mean, of course we're not going to see them in the first movie, because that's probably something she learned after the fact. But it's just like, yeah, it's just like, okay, this is completely out of nowhere, but hey, at least we got the cool invisible jet, and it's honestly the only time we see it, and that's all I needed.
Me too. It was really damn cool to see.
Yeah.
With the fireworks going up. Really, really beautiful.
Oh, yeah. No, Patty Jenkins and the cinematographer, whose name is Matthew Jensen, they did a really wonderful job with a lot of the visuals in this movie. Another thing that was alluded to earlier is when Steve and Diana are in Diana's apartment, they discover this... You all right?
Yeah.
Just tired? Basically, when they're in Diana's apartment, Steve discovers this armor that was worn by the fierce protector of the Amazons. What is her name again? Asteria. Basically, this armor is forged from all of the armor and weapons of the Amazons, and Asteria wore it to give the Amazons a head start so they could flee man's world and end up at Themyscira.
Okay, hold on. I just realized something. And this is a spoiler review, so I'm not going to...
Yeah.
Fast forward to the mid-credit scene.
I want to get that at the end, though. Do you want to go do it now, or?
No, because it's not the same character.
That is the same character.
I didn't realize that. Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, we'll get into that when it comes, but yes, it is the same character. So basically, Diana, during her whole time on Earth, she has been trying to find this armor, and she did. So fast forward to the end of the movie, after she gets rid of Steve Trevor, she dons the armor to fight Cheetah, who is the fully formed Cheetah, complete with fur and the wild hair and all that stuff, full blown, pretty cool fight scene. Yeah, and then Diana breaks into this broadcast station where Maxwell Lord is using the power to intercept all broadcasts all over the world to try to get the world to wish what they want for, and Maxwell granted them, because once he has at this point become the stone, and so any person he touches, he can give them their wish. However, it comes at a cost to him. You can see him slowly decay as the movie goes forward. What do you think of that?
I like him as a character, and I like watching him decay. But at the same time, I have to say, I don't really buy his motivations for doing all this to begin with. Like, what were his motivations to get this dream stone?
Again, they don't outright say it, they use visuals, but in the scene where Diana is... Okay, so basically she breaks into this broadcast center. Maxwell Lord's pretty much... all the power is being used. She's trying her best to get her whip on him. He's standing the middle of the projection beam, I guess is what's called, the signal. And
Sky beam.
Sky beam. Yeah, it's a sky beam, and basically she gives this speech, but he thinks she's saying it to him, but in reality she's saying it to the world, because she managed to get her lasso around his feet, and by doing that it projects what the lasso's true power is, which is the power of truth, right? Because truth above all is the most important thing according to this movie. And at this point, this is where we get the flashbacks to Maxwell Lord's backstory about how he came from a poor abusive household. His dad beat the shit out of him for wetting the bed. He went to school completely dressed like shit with holes in his shoes. Kid made fun of him for it. His whole point is he's trying to prove he's better than he is.
I need to wish that came with you in the movie. No, the hell. I need wish we got that before, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I felt for me it worked where it was. Yes, it would have been nice if he had a little bit more to his motivation, because while he is charming and all that stuff, he is kind of a bit of a one-dimensional villain in that sense. Because, like you said, we don't know his motivations until the very end. Yeah, but then it's at this point where he realizes that no, what he's doing is wrong, and his son is in danger. He sees his son who is like trying to escape everything that's going on, and he says he finally does it. He renounces his power, and by doing that, he breaks all the wishes, and the Moonstone is over.
Dreamstone, not Moonstone.
Sorry, yes, Dreamstone, Moonstone, it's a stone. And then with that, the movie's pretty much solved. Everything goes back to normal. Everything that was wished for disappears. That's basically how it ends. And then we get a little scene where it's wintertime. Diana's walking to downtown Washington. She gets hit with a snowball. She says, "Oh, it's okay, guys." And then the guy whose body was inhabited by Steve Trevor walks up, and they share a nice conversation. And you can see by talking to him that by the look on her face that Diana's like, "Okay, I think I'm ready to move on now," and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was a really, really good movie. I don't think I liked it as much as I did the first one, but yeah, like you said, it was fun. I liked the action. It was a little long, but yeah.
So earlier in the movie, when we were introduced to the character of Asteria, I believe it is Chris Pine's character that asks, "Is she still out there?" And Wonder Woman says, "I don't know." Fast forward to the mid-credits scene, you see this woman walking down the street. Now, I'm not going to lie. I thought two things at first. I thought, A, it was Diana herself. Don't know why they would have done that as mid-credit scenes, just because of how you see from the back. Second, I had in my head maybe, oh, it's Cheetah. She somehow managed to keep her powers. She's not a Cheetah anymore, but she's still strong. She's pretending to be Wonder Woman. No. A power line breaks. This person stops it. And she rescues a family. The mother runs up to her and says, "Oh, you saved my baby. How did you do that?" And she turns around. And this is where I went, ah! It's Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman, as Asteria. I lost my shit when I saw her because I was not expecting that.
It was awesome. It was an awesome reveal. And I didn't make that connection just now. I didn't realize that was the same character.
Yeah, she says when the lady asks her name, she says, "My name is Asteria."
No, I know that.
But you didn't realize it was the same one.
Yeah, I didn't realize the woman in the past was named Asteria.
Yeah. See, and here's the thing. Like, I just thought that character was there just to give a reason for the armor being around. I didn't think that would pay off, and you know what? There's enough people that are saying this movie's not great, but you cannot take this away from me. This was just hands down amazing, and I loved how she did the nod to her former role when she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I've been doing this a long time."
Yeah.
And practically winked at the camera. I was like, "Yep, cook me, I'm done."
So let me ask you: are we going to see Linda Carter again?
I would like to.
Asteria.
Will we? I couldn't tell you. Personally, I would like to see her come back because it's Linda Carter. She looks like she still like she did in the 70s. She looks amazing.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, who knew this in real life? She wouldn't age. She's 69 years old. She's my dad's age.
Wow.
And she still looks good. Sorry, Dad. But no, I don't know. I don't want her to be like a main character or something, but I definitely would like to see her be a mentor because without explicitly saying it, you get the impression that she's been on Earth doing this for centuries. So she's got a wealth of knowledge to pass off to Diana. That's how I would like to see her, as like a mentor role.
That would be good.
Yeah, that would be.
Well, the last thing I saw her in was Supergirl, I believe.
Yeah, she played the president in Supergirl. Yeah. God, that was just so awesome. I actually went back and rewatched it right afterwards.
Really?
That one scene. Oh yeah. Well, because I watched it on my TV, and then I went back on my iPad and right to that scene. I was like, I gotta. Yeah.
So, is there anything you didn't like about this movie?
Like I said, I felt it could have been tighter. It could have been trimmed down a little more. I think a runtime of 151 minutes is a little long for a movie, for a superhero movie. But for the most part, like, I'm with you. I wouldn't say it's better than the first one. I'd say it's its own thing, which I like. They didn't rehash what we got in the first one. Perfectly loved that. They've kind of flipped to 180, and I that's what I like the most about this movie. It took a risk by doing something different. So I would probably put it in the mid tier with like Shazam and Aquaman for me.
Okay, well, I would put it in the mid tier with Birds of Prey for me. I have that in the mid tier.
Yeah, I'd put Birds of Prey in the mid tier as well.
I really like Shazam and I really like Aquaman.
Yeah, I got one more day to watch it before the rental disappears because spoilers, we don't have HBO Max in Canada. Fuck you, Rogers. So I got one more chance to watch it. I'm probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna enjoy it just as much because goddamn, this was a fun movie. And I said it once before, and I'll say it again. Gal Gadot can make me her filthy little cabana boy anytime. I don't know what it is, but her in Wonder Woman, to me, is like a vision of beauty. Like, oh my god, she is gorgeous. And like, you look at her and you believe she is this strong, compassionate protector. You believe her.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what she does in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Which is funny. She's come out and said she did not participate in the reshoots.
Really?
Yeah, so all the stuff that she's going to be in Snyder Cut's going to be all original stuff, apparently. The stuff from the first go-around.
Yeah, I'm so confused about this movie.
Yeah, well, you mean this 4-part miniseries?
Yeah, we can talk off camera, but
Yeah.
it's odd to say the least.
Well, I'm not going to lie, the whole thing is odd. The whole DC slate is odd. Okay, so now that we've gotten characters like Maxwell Lord, we've gotten characters like Cheetah in this one, and we've seen the last of Steve Trevor, because I honestly do not think they would bring him back for third one, because that's just going to the well too much. What would you like?
They've been pushing it. I mean, it fit well with their story,
Yes.
but yeah, we're done with him. We're
Yeah,
done.
it fit well with the journey of her trying to let go, and now that she's let him go, yeah, have him in a picture, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, I just watched last night, and I will tell you, it's better than the original version. I watched the recut version of The Godfather 3 last night, and like all you saw was like Sonny Corleone and pictures of the background. You really didn't see him. That's how I want. If you're gonna bring back a character, just have him as a picture in the background. If you don't need him.
Okay.
Yeah. But what would you like to see in future Wonder Woman movies?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know the characters all that well from the comic.
Okay, so everyone's always saying they would like to see Robin in the comics. I want to see Donna Troy, Wonder Girl in the comics, in the movies.
There's one I really don't know that much about. Artemis? Who is that?
Artemis is more Green Lantern type thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Artemis. Yeah, yes, it's more in the Green Lantern thing. No, it's Wonder Girl, Donna Troy, and then there's also Cassandra Sandsmark. I would like to see one of the two. I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool to see. Everyone's always saying they want to see Robin on screen. I think it would just be equally as cool to see Wonder Woman having to deal with being a mentor.
That would be cool. You think we're going to get a Wonder Woman right now?
It's tough because of how this movie was released.
Yeah.
Right? Because right now, looking at it, it's only made $40 million on a $200 million budget. And now keep in mind, the United States gets it for free on HBO Max for a month. People like me, I had to rent it for $30, so they're gonna make their money back.
And, well, the movie being kind of, they're in hot water now, to say the least.
Yeah.
For the mothers. I'm going to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I understand why they're like releasing it as it is, but I think it's just dumb to make it exclusively to an app that is only available in the States. But that's another
I have nothing to do with it.
No, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just I'm frustrated with the whole thing because their whole advertising. Oh, only get on HBO Max. Hello, like nobody outside of the States can get it.
Studios, they fuck everything up sometimes.
Yep. And Americans get all the best thing when it comes into content. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
True.
Really?
I'm not going to say anything.
I was gonna say, dude, you're in the middle of it, so of course you don't think that. You get everything. Like, like for example, do you know how long Canada had to wait for the WWE Network after it launched?
How long?
2 years.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All because our distribution laws blow. But again, digress. That's another video for another time.
Yeah, okay, one last thing before we wrap up. Pedro Pascal, what did you like him more? Maxwell Lord or Mando?
Mando. Yeah, Mando. Like he served his purpose for this movie. He did exactly everything that was asked of him. But if I were to choose the two, it's Mando.
My God, ain't me or did they make him up to look like Nathan Fillion on this one?
They make who look like Fillion? Sorry.
Did they make Pedro to look a little like Nathan Fillion?
I did not get that vibe at all.
Really?
Yeah, to me, he didn't really remind me of anybody.
I don't know why. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Yeah, maybe that.
Maybe. I mean, like, yeah, it hit you like that, but yeah, it didn't hit me like that.
Okay.
So, is there anything else you want to say about this movie? This very fun movie?
I love the opening. The opening at the mall. That was fun as heck.
Yeah, and you know what? The amount we got of the Amazons, I think, for this story worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see the set again in some way, shape, or form.
Maybe.
Or not see it, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So overall, you're saying middle of the pack for.
Yeah, I'm happy with middle of the pack.
Yep. I'd say the same thing too. It did what it needed to do. Could they have tweaked a few things? Sure. Any movie has to tweak a few things. That's just the way it goes. You about to say something?
Yeah, I think we're flushed out on people stuff with some of my characters.
Yeah, and that seems to be the common denominator for a lot of critics. There is that they could have fleshed out a few things, or maybe tightened a few things up. So basically, it seems to be we're on the same page. Yeah, I'm with you, middle of the pack all the way. This was fun. This was just me on Christmas Day, just sitting back and enjoying a movie, and that's how I like to watch movies. I don't watch it for critical. I watch it beginning to end. Didn't entertain me. 100% this entertained me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it did everything that I wanted.
So there was the first or second movie for you on Christmas.
This was the first.
So you watched the show.
I watched this one first, and I watched Soul right afterwards.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I got up. First thing I got up in the morning was like 8:00. This was the first thing I did was turn this on.
Nice.
Well, after I went and did my morning constitutions and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Overall, highly recommended. I can't wait to own it in 4K.
Yeah, going to be nice. Definitely.
Yeah. The visuals in this were definitely a step up for me. The flying. I'm not gonna lie. The very end part where they show her flying off into the sunset, that whole sequence, it reminded me a lot of how Superman the movie ended. The battle is won. You see Superman, in this case Wonder Woman, flying up, making sure everything's okay, and then flying off past the camera into the sunset.
So, one last question about the movie. When you fell into the light bulb, Pedro, Maxwell Lord, or was it Ares in Wonder Woman?
I will say this. I did like Maxwell Lord more. Now, I found out something earlier in the week. It turns out that third act was not the original third act. It appeared, from what I've... Basically, Patty Jenkins went out and said the studio wanted a different ending, and that's how we got what we got in the third act. It sounds like it wasn't supposed to be David Thewlis as Ares.
Really?
Yeah, it from what I gathered from it, supposedly the original plan was just not Ares be a physical person, but more like an influence. So I don't know what they're originally going to do with that, but that's what it sounds like, that David Thewlis as Ares was like a last minute thing. So that would explain why everything felt so out of place.
That would have been so much better, I think. But
Yeah.
it was fine. It was
Yeah.
fine.
Hands down, the first Wonder Woman is, I don't want to say cinematic achievement, but it is more of a pop culture touchstone.
Yeah.
And I think it's a more important film and a better executed film. But Wonder Woman 1984 was still fun.
I really did. I love the reveal. Like, when after Maxwell was like, smelling his guns and you realize she was really touching.
Yeah.
The was doing it so she could talk to everybody at the same time. That was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was
Very cool. Okay, so was there anything else you wanted to say about the movie? Okay, so where can everybody find you?
You can find me right there on my Twitter at BenRader2.
Okay, you want me to cover everything else?
Sure.
Okay, you can find Ben on Saturdays on Mount Schmodown. You can find me and Ben. Yeah, you can find me and Ben every Thursday on Shooting the Breeze, where we sit down with a friend of ours from the internet, and just for an hour we just talk about whatever the guest wants, and it pretty much goes from all directions in there. You can also find us on Saturday on Recapping the Past, where we sit down and recap sitcoms from our early days that we really enjoy. Currently, we are in the midst of Saved by the Bell, which is almost over. You can also find us on Sundays on Get Sweaty, where me, Ben, Soul, 50 Shades of Geek, and Jordan, when he's back from hiatus, will just sit down and we have a top 5 list on whatever topic is given to us. So you can definitely find that. You can also find me over my other channel, Schmoes of the North, where every week we review the what happens in the week of Schmodown. And we also have another show, Northern Consultations, where we sit down with a guest, be it somebody who's in front of the camera, a competitor, or somebody behind the scenes working with the Schmodown. Our latest one was with none other than Jeff Snyder. Definitely check that out. It was recorded like a couple days after the Spectacular was over. So he went into detail about what happened in the 4th round. Definitely check that out. And on top of that, you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. So thank you very much for watching this. I personally recommend this movie, but you know what? Don't take my word for it. Watch the movie. Build your own opinions. That's the beauty about watching a movie. It's all subjective. If I liked it, it might not be what you liked. Right?
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Yeah, we're just here because we like the movie so much we wanted to talk about. So yes, go watch the movie, form your own opinions. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we do. And hopefully we'll see you again on another sweaty review. So until next time, we'll see you later.
Smash cancer.
And smash cancer.